Gladwin had barely finished her sentence when the portcullis flies open with a bang, and a handsome man appears. I don't know, I'm so on the handsome part. Let's play Maid of Chapelle Bleue. I should have said that in a French accent. Maid of Chapelle Bleue is a visual novel, and it plays in the medieval times, I think. It has beautiful illustrations. It's not really what I'm usually going for, but there's supposed to be maybe a ghost, and also, again, the artwork looks so gorgeous and pretty cute that I really wanted to play it. Also, it's about 30 minutes, so I thought, you know what, I'm just trying it out. The story is the new maid Eloisde is excited to escape her tiny hamlet to take care of the reclusive Lord Fox's estate, Chapelle Bleue. The castle is situated in the outskirts of town within a sprawling forest. And there are rumors. Ooh, yes, I'm all for the hot gossip. That's just totally my thing. So let's see what we're getting here. Also, I kind of messed up my intro. I usually say, hello, this is Hula Noob. You're watching Hula Noob playing indie games. I will put the link to the game in the liner notes. Also, I kind of messed up my intro. I usually say, hello, this is Hula Noob. You're watching Hula Noob playing indie games. I will put the link to the game in the liner notes. And on your way there, you'll maybe find a beautiful, mysterious subscribe button that, well, if pushed, will reveal secrets beyond your imagination. Well, not really, but who knows? Maybe it does. Dearest Miriam, it's been scarcely a month since I left the hamlet, and already I miss you, Papa. First in my letter I shall answer the query I know is on your lips. The Chapelle Bleue estate is gorgeous, as they say. You would love the keep. From up its spiral you can see nearly the entire town. Everyone making their way about like tiny dolls. Sometimes I pretend I can see our own little hovel from its heights, though I know it to be impossible. You tending to the herb garden out back, and Papa tilling the fields with Uncle Han. Solo? The work here isn't so bad, the same as we did at Lady Donna's before. You may find it of great interest that Lord Fox is much more neatly than that old biddy ever was. Jesus, that's a little bit mean. I shudder to think of you tackling her chambers alone this spring. I thought to inquire if a second maid was needed, but Miss Gladwin, the head maid, declined, though perhaps that is for the best. There are rumors. I hum, tapping my quill against my cheek as I review my letter. It really is fortunate I get my own private quarters. Miriam would be jealous. Though I imagine if they were to fully staff the castle, my room would be shared with several other young ladies. Sound effects! I dip my quill into the well and nearly upend the entire pot upon the pounding at my door. Eloisde, haven't you risen yet, you lazy girl? Your chores only compound the longer you dally. Yes, ma'am, merely finishing my morning prayer work. That's not true, you're gossiping. Very well. Gladwin's immaculate, polished shoes disappear from under the doorstep as she marches off. I sigh and look down at my half-finished letter. I should finish this later. Chapelle Bleue, Castle Kitchens. After donning my apron, I descend to the kitchens. A roaring fire warms the last remnants of the night's chill from the room. Gladwin must have started it already. Thank goodness. I can never get the tinderbox going. I peel this evening's potatoes, throwing them into the handsome podcast of iron. A handsome podcast. I like pots, but handsome? Girl, you need to get out in the world. Merely a week into Lord Fox's employ, and already the daily routines seem mundane. more boiled potatoes. You'd think the upper class would at least spice things up once in a while. I love potatoes, so I will not have this. Eloisde, I don't think we're getting along here very well. You know, just saying. Boiled potatoes with gravy. Boiled bean and mutton and gravy. Boiled carrots. It sounds delicious. More gravy. Yes. It's enough to drive anyone crazy. Or super... What's bad against delicious gravy and carrots and potatoes? Eloisde, I always have to think about what's the name again. Eloisde, what is it with you? Why are you so angry? I wonder. You know what? Let's focus. Although, maybe we'll find something about the ghost. Let's check the pantry. Usually Gladwin lays out all of the day's prep. I haven't had a chance to take stock of the pantry supply myself. As today's chef, it would only be right I should familiarize myself with it, even if I'm only following Gladwin's recipes. I open the pantry door and gasp in surprise. Where I had been expecting a tidy closet, perhaps a few racks of dried herbs, instead lay a sprawling room the size of my own. Barrels stacked in the corner were flush with wine, while all sorts of dried meats and cheeses line the shelves. I shouldn't play before dinner. This could feed the entire hamlet for weeks. Why are we so caught up on the boiled potatoes then? Because they are delicious, Eloisde. Shut it. Shaking my head at the absurd display of wealth, I return to my quest. There has to be some sort of spices to add even a hint of flavor somewhere in here. I should probably leave the meats and cheeses alone, but if I could find an onion or some garlic. I scan the shelves before my eyes settle on a few sprigs of rosemary nestled in one cobweb-laden corner. There you are! But just as I take a step forward, what the... Some sort of gummy residue sticks to the sole of my boot as I try to lift it. Whatever stuck to my boot stains the hems of my skirts as well, a burgundy so deep it's almost black. Is it blood? A congealed trail of it snakes its way through the stonework, blackening the grout. Ugh! Gross! Is one of the barrels leaking? Something roils in my stomach. Perhaps it's foolish, but I can't help think it blood. I decide to leave the rosemary to its tomb and return to the kitchens proper. The rest of the morning passes mechanically, and before I know, it's time for my next task. Sorry, I messed that up. Okay. Boop. The rest of the morning passes mechanically, and before I know it, it's time for my next task. I realize that my accent just differs wildly with every single sentence. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna go with accents, okay? Chapelle Bleue, castle hallways. Finally free of the heat of the ovens, I move on to the task of wiping down the banisters in the south wing. Meticulously, I work my way down the hallway, peering into empty shelves of rooms covered in sheets as I go. How odd! The Chapelle Bleue castle has so many rooms and chambers, but the only ones who seem to be around now are Lord Fox, Gladwin, and me. Usually nobles love to display their wealth to any friend or distant relative, but this place is deserted. Carefully I run my rag over the intricate carvings before bending down to wipe the baseboards. Woo! Thunk! Huh? What was that? A dull thump sounded from inside the room. Did I imagine that? Is there someone in there? Knock on the door! Hesitantly, I bring my fist to the wood. Pop, pop. When a vise-like grip wraps around my wrist and pulls me back. Child, what are you doing? Gladwin yanks me away from the door. That room is private to the masters of this castle and expressly forbidden. At my lack of response, Gladwin shakes me. Do you understand? I'm sorry, Gladwin. I thought I heard... No matter what you hear, you may not enter it. I thought Gladwin would be livid, but she looks more worried. I really can't wrap my head around her. I really can't wrap my head around her. Yes, ma'am. Gladwin's face softens. That's a girl. Now why don't you tidy up your uniform for dinner? The master will be dining in the north dining room this evening, and I expect you to assist with the serving. I wonder whether the music is copyrighted, because it's at least a famous composition, but maybe it's, I mean, obviously old enough to not fall under copyright, but you never know. We'll see when I upload this. Yay! Okay, Chapelle Bleue, castle dining room, several hours later. I lay out the pewter serving spoons as Gladwin sets out the dishes. I should try talking to her more. It's so quiet with just the two of us. Will Lord Fox will be dining alone this evening? Yes. The silence lingers, save the clinking of dishes. Well, you could ask her about her and not about Lord Fox. That went well. She could have at least answered in a complete sentence. This is to be your first time meeting Lord Fox, correct? Yes, ma'am. We've communicated through letter to set me up with travel fare to the castle, but we've yet to meet in person. I'm afraid I couldn't really get a good read on him through our correspondence, though. What sort of person would you say Lord Fox is? Gladwin eyes me thoughtfully. He is acceptable. He does not hurl abuse, nor does he expect mountains to be moved. I see. Gladwin's back straightens and she sniffs. But a word to the wise, Eloisde. Lord Fox can be a charming man when the need arises. I would advise against taking it to heart. I like her. I like her. He's wont to mischief with the staff. Remember, you are a mermaid. Mermaid? Yes, ma'am. Mischief with the staff? Just what sort of man did I get mixed up with? Anyway, I'd said we're about done here, and with nary a second to spare, I'd hazard. Can you hear that? Someone is approaching the front gates. Sure enough, the galloping of horseshoes grows louder in our ears. Gladwin had barely finished her sentence when the portcullis flies open with a bang, and a handsome man appears. I don't know, I'm so on the handsome part, but, you know. His clothes look perfectly undisturbed, with not even a dusting of pollen from the many flowering trees that line the grounds. But still Gladwin rushes over to him, fussing with his clothes and disrobing him of his travelling cloak. I feel really awkward. I should be doing something instead of just standing here like a lump. But what? Everything I think of to do, I'd just be in the way. Instead, I settle on standing stoically by the table. Finally, they finish, and Lord Fox takes his seat at the head of the table. His eyes focus on me and light up. Eileen, my apologies for not being able to greet you properly in person. How are you settling in? I hope the castle and Miss Gladwin have been treating you right. I can see where Gladwin would be worried. Lord Fox does possess a certain roguish appeal. Maybe a little less than he intended with her name mix-up, though. Answer honestly? No, that seems... Although he would probably chuckle, but I don't wanna... Maybe Gladwin was like... Would be insulted. You know what? Let's stir shit up. It's Eloisde, sir. Lord Fox peers over his glass of Merlot. Yes, of course. My apologies, Eloisde. He took my correction better than I feared. Should I press my luck? May I be permitted to ask a question, sir? Lord Fox nods regally. The Chapelle Bleue estate is awfully large, but I've yet to meet any other servants than Gladwin. Are they on a holiday? I don't mention how run down the grounds appeared on my arrival, with the weeds overtaking the pathways and sun-bleached regalia. I've closed off most of the estate. Keeping extended staff would be a waste. I see. That answered nothing. Lord Fox returns to his meal, notably barely picking at his food. Instead, he remains content to nurse his drink in a merry fashion. Thirst sated, Lord Fox retires to his chambers in a cloud of wine-induced levity. Why don't you head back to your room, dear? I can finish clearing the table. With a gracious thank you to Gladwin, and returned to my quarters. Okay. Did I miss something? Oh well. I should finish my letter. No, where was I? Well, gossiping. Upon my journey to the Chapelle Bleue estate, I took rest in a neighbouring village, and the tales they whispered of Lord Fox. They say on nights with the fullest moons he transforms into a bat and menaces those unlucky enough to be out, and that his teeth are filed like a canine's whose bite digs deep as he drinks your life. Oh, how I laughed! Though I've just met his acquaintance tonight, I cannot speak to any truth of the matter, only that he is very fine in appearance, and very acquainted with his wine cellars, perhaps to excess. Jesus Christ, Eloisde! She's such a gossipy girl. I mean, just calm your... Man, just keep it cool a little. Wait a little. When you're fresh at work, you're not immediately slag off your employees and whatnot. I shall have my hands full with this one. Jesus Christ. But I do not think him to be the monster they paint him as. At the very least, do not be worried for me. You know I know how to take care of myself adequately. Yeah, apparently, by just, slacking everyone off. Attached is a portion of my wages. I hope you may use it some for Martha's upcoming birthday. With love, Eloise. Now to just leave the ink to dry. Carefully I screw the lid of my inkwell shut and wipe down my quill. Gladwin pops her head in. Oh good, you haven't retired yet. Can you prepare the fire in the parlour for when Lord Fox returns from this evening stroll? He'll be wanting it warm after being out in the chill. I scurried down the stairs, and by the time I lit the candle and returned to my quarters, the sun had completely finished setting. Huh? My letter, where did it go? Yeah, now... and now you're thinking of what trash you wrote in there about everyone. I glanced under the desk and around the little bin I collected my trash in. No matter where I searched, I couldn't find it. That's strange. Where could it be? I hope Gladwin didn't take it. Suddenly a gust of wind bursts through the window, ruffling the curtains. The wind! Rushing to the window, I poke my head out, scanning the gardens below. There it is! The breeze must have blown it away. Nestled in a rosebush is my letter. But even as I stare, the breeze threatens to tear it free and into the night. Oh no! I've got to get it before it blows away completely. But before I can tear myself from the window, a figure approaches. Gracefully he removes the parchment from its prison and smoothes out the crinkles with a deft hand. Lord Fox! Hell's teeth, if he reads that I'm done for. Yeah, that will show you, Eloise. Just imagining him reading my prattling is embarrassing enough, let alone the fact that I practically accused him of being a creature of the night. You also basically said he's a drunkard. I think that's worse than telling that he might be a vampire, honestly. Like, if I could choose, I would rather be the vampire. And from his height, there's no way he will hear me if I try calling out. I need to get down there with haste. For the nth time this night, I tear down the staircase, barely remembering to hop over the 6 steps wobbly stone. Oh, should I memorize that? 6-step wobbly stone. I nearly append a vase, 2 end tables, and the old tomcat that had taken to sleeping on the landing, but I make it through the front gates and into the rose garden in record time. In record time, sorry. Sir! I gasp for air. I can barely spit out my words. Lord Fox looks at me in amazement. Are you quite all right? Great, I must look a right mess rushing down like this. I haven't even had time to scrub the soot and charcoal from my hands. Am I even wearing my bonnet? After a few drawn breaths, I'm able to wheeze out an answer. Mine! That's mine! I point at the parchment in his hand. He doesn't look any less startled, but hands me the letter. Incriminating letter retrieved! Damn it! Now that he isn't as startled at my sudden appearance, I can't tell from his expression if he's piqued or not. Ahem. It's quite a lovely night tonight. Do you often take evening strolls, or just when you lose important paperwork? Be charming. Let's have fun with this. Oh, well, you know. Shoot, was that charming enough? That was supposed to be charming? Well, you know. I mean, if that's all it takes. I always thought it was a bit harder to be charming. Well, I will try that the next time I try to be charming. Meeting Keanu Reeves. Sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. It's so hot. I think, you know, the weather and my hunger turned me a bit silly. Shoot, was that charming enough? Why did I think I could be charming? Lord Fox's teeth flash a dazzling white in the moonlight. You needn't be so afraid. I don't bite. That's exactly what a vampire would say. What it? Did he read the letter after all? Or is he just messing with me? Lord Fox continues, unaware of my tumultuous thoughts. Here I look. I'll show you what I'm looking at. He beckons me forward with a crooked finger and points at an ash tree. All sorts of delicate glass bottles dangle from the branches. Within each a lit candle flickers dimly. What is this? Beautiful, isn't it? One of the previous maids erected it. The bottles are said to attract evil spirits away from the home. They enter the bottles and become trapped, unable to continue towards their destination. Witchcraft? Silly, no, but it does provide a certain reassurance. I, for one, haven't been plagued with a nightmare since. I swallow thickly. I knew he didn't attend Mass, but to actively participating in such rituals. Thank you for retrieving my letter, but I best be heading in now. The fire's lit for your return, sir. Clutching my letter to my chest, I flee to the safety of my quarters. The next morning. Today's my half-day off. The walk's a little far, but I should head out into town. Church will be starting soon, and afterwards I can drop my letter off, at a career. I inquired with Gladwin on whether her or Lord Fox would be attending as well, but learned her leg ached and that Lord Fox makes it a habit to never attend. Jesus, Eloisde. I must admit it's a relief to have a little time to my own. After a half-moon weeding my way through the dense forest surrounding Chapelle Bleue castle, I make it to town with no incident. The rest of the day passes enjoyably. I spend a few hours trading news and gossip with the congregation and later locate a courier to entrust Miriam's letter with. Yeah, of course you gossip. Eloisde, I don't think you can do anything else. Just judge and gossip on everyone. Before I know it, the sun has begun to set, casting the countryside in a warm glow. Damnation. I didn't mean to stay out this late. I should hurry back to the castle. It's not as if I have a curfew, but the less time spent wandering the woods alone at night, the better. I thought of the rumors of strange beasts and monsters that occupy the woods and shivered. What during the day appeared benign and charming now loomed eerily. Overgrown tangles of roots constantly threatened to trip and snatch at my skirts. But I stuck to the path and eventually made it through. Oh, let's never do that again. What, walking into town? That's okay. A figure stands vigil in the garden, its back turned to me. Is that Lord Fox again? Oh, what? No, in his own garden during night time. Okay. Spy on the figure. Greet them. Let be devious. The figure hasn't seen me yet, so I slip behind a tree and peer out at them. Squinting my eyes, I can tell it's definitely Lord Fox. He must like to stargaze. I watch him a few minutes longer, but nothing of interest happens. Ah. Feeling foolish for spying on him, I decide to call it a night and return to my room. Oh no! I should have greeted him. Eloise's quarters 2 hours later. Wait. From the garden to her quarters it took 2 hours. Oh, she's sleeping. As you do. I snap awake with a start. What was that? What? Shivering, I pull my quilt up to my chin. When did it get this cold? I can see my breath. Is someone there? My eyes squint through the dark, desperately trying to adjust to the light. Suddenly I'm struck by the sudden presence of another. Blindly grasping, I manage to seize my quill and aim its pointy end near the presence. Wait a minute. There you go. If I'm going down fighting. I'll go for the eyes if I have to. Outside, the clouds dissipate, revealing a fat and full moon. Framed in the doorway, a shadowy figure stands spotlight by the sudden light. Noticing my attention, it melts away into the darkness. Hey, wait a minute. I charge out from under the covers, my bare foot slapping against the limestone. Get back here! Whenever I think I'm about to catch up with the damned thing, it turns a corner until... Ha! Caught you! The figure just turned down the hall to the family wing, a veritable dead end. As I turn the corner, I catch the figure merging through a door and dissipating into the ether. But before completely disappearing, they turn their face towards mine. The face that greets me is one of pure terror. Her eyes are naught but black holes that go on seemingly forever. The rags hanging off her look similar to my own modest wear, but are bleached a blinding white. A vast melancholy blossoms from her, and like that she's gone. What on earth was that? I inspect the door as closely as possible while keeping the maximum distance possible. Wait, I know this room. This is the forbidden room I'm not allowed to go in. Try the handle. I clutch the knob and turn the handle, fear pulsing through my veins. Oh. It's locked. I try it again and again, but the door remains resolute. Well, now I'm just mad. What the hell is behind this door? Reluctantly, I decide to give up for the night. I retreat to bed, but the sun arrives way before any sleep. What I don't get, couldn't I have chosen both, like rattling on the door and then looking through the keyhole? It's not like it takes 6 hours to look through a keyhole. Just, it's my 2 cents, you know? Okay. The next morning. The more I think of it, the more it becomes obvious. The secret to whatever's going down in this castle is behind that door. I need to get in no matter what. Sorry. Lost myself a little there. The more I think of it, the more it becomes clear. The secret to whatever goes down in this house is behind that door. I think you just said that, like... If only I had the key. Thinking back to the night Lord Fox first arrived, I remembered Gladwin had a hefty set of keys on a ring. She used them to unlock the wine cabinet after his 5th glass. Or was it his 8th? Jesus! She just has to get the dig in, you know? She's unhappy if she can't. I need that keyring, and I think I know just how to get them. According to my schedule, Gladwin should be mopping the dining room today. Caught up in her work, Gladwin doesn't seem to notice me. Before approaching her, I should decide on my plan. Ooh, I don't know. Gladwin seems like the type to be observant about her surroundings. I should go about this a different way. Yeah, so we're not stealing. Because I figured Gladwin is amazing. I think she would notice. And Eloisde, you know, she's a gossip, but I don't think she's a good pickpocket. Excuse me, Miss Gladwin. Lord Fox requested I bring him some wine from the cellar, but the cask appears to be locked. Gladwin sighs and begins to stand up. All right, give me a few moments to finish this up and I can deliver it to him. Oh no, I wouldn't want to get in your way. I can get it myself if I may borrow the keys. Gladwin gives me a long look as if sizing me up. I try not to look too guilty. Very well. Gladwin presses the iron keyring in my hand and points out the key to the wine storage. Bring them right back, dear. Yes, ma'am. Key secured, I make haste out of the dining room and towards the mysterious door. There it is, the room behind it all. The keys rattle in my hand as I unfold them from my handkerchief. Am I really about to do this? Yes! Yes! Do it! Lock the door! After a few tries, the correct key slots in with an ominous click. The door creaks open into pitch black. Sorry. There must not be any windows. How strange. I should grab a candle from the sconce. With only dim candlelight, I sneak into the room. It's as if the blackness sucks all light out. I fear any second my candle might snuff out. Gotch! My eyes track downwards and catch sight of something hard underfoot, concealed in the shadows. I pick whatever it is up and bring it towards my candle's dull flame. I let out a scream of terror and throw the cursed thing back into the darkness, its shape devoured into nothing. No way! It couldn't be. That looked like a femur. Oh! I take a step backwards, only to be met by another sickening crunch. Bile rises to the back of my mouth. With a nauseous pit in my stomach, I aim my candle towards the ground. Bone after bone, stacked over and upon themselves in piles, litter the floor. These are human. Tears threaten to stream down my face. What is this place? A claw rips through the shadows and digs into my shoulders, wrenching me backwards. I claw back at it with all my strength, struggling to break free, but can't gain any purchase. Twice I fall towards the floor, sending bone fragments skittering, but the thing won't let up. Finally it drags me, not into the depths, but towards the light. Splayed out in a daze, my eyes blink frantically, trying to readjust to the warm afternoon light. Once the stars clear, I prepare to meet my attacker. Gladwin! What have you done, you stupid girl? Leave! Get out of here! You're fired! What? I don't... You're not safe here anymore! Get out now! I don't understand. Go! Before he comes! Who? Lord Fox? Did he do this? Are you daft, child? Please, I have to know. Is this what happened to all the previous maids? Gladwin's face softens for the briefest of seconds before hardening back into a mask. Please, just go, Eloisde. A distant rolling set of footsteps echo through the hallways, beating a cadence against the stonework. Run before it's too late! I don't even look back, I just run. The walls of the castle blur. In the distance I can hear Gladwin yelling something, but I've had no time to register the words as I burst through the main doors. Outside, the last streaks of sunlight burn the sky a deep red hue before disappearing into the trees. When did it get so late? I was only in that room a few minutes. Shaking my head, I tear myself from reverie. I can figure it out later. I need to keep moving. The forest should grant me some shelter. I don't fancy making my way around in the dark, but I can lay low until there's better visibility. I've barely taken 2 steps through the garden when a figure detaches itself from the shadows. Where are you going, Eloisde? And what did you see? I'm not sure what you're talking about, sir. Don't play dumb with me, maid. I bite back a scream as I notice the elongated fangs protruding from his mouth in a large grin. I can't take it any longer and make a dash towards the tree line. Do you really think you can outrun me? I swerve around him and keep running. Look at the little teeth. Oh, that's adorable. The forest is only a few feet away now. Lord Fox's hand wraps around my throat, lifting me through the air as he slams me into a tree. My back grinds against its bark, tearing and snagging at my dress. Black spots dance in my vision. Blindly I grasp around for something, anything to grab onto. Lord Fox merely laughs. Why are you still fighting? It's a shame. I really did think you'd last a bit longer. Gladwin is quite angry at me about it, you know. She says I go through you too fast. If only there was something I could grab. I feel around the tree I've been pressed against, trying to suss out anything usable as a makeshift weapon. My hand tightens against something smooth and cold. The bottle. A bottle? My thoughts are growing blurry as I look up. All around me in the tree, colorful bottles hang. This is that tree Lord Fox was always gazing at, with the spirits. With my last ounces of consciousness, I rip bottle after bottle off the tree, hurling them blindly. Damn it, stop! What are you doing? I continue throwing as many bottles towards him as I can. The colorful shards litter the grass like confetti as they shatter on impact. From each glass-jagged remains an orb emerges. They swarm around Lord Fox like a hive of angry hornets. Ah! Soon I can barely see them through the mass of fairy lights. They pulsate and buzz with a deceptive beauty that takes what little is left of my breath away. What am I doing? I need to get moving. Picking up my skirts, I plunge into the forest. Twigs and branches cut into my face, but still I run. I can still hear the shrieks of Lord Fox as whatever monstrosity stored in those bottles rip him to shreds. It's the ghosties from the former maid, I tell ya. They don't quiet in my ears until days later. Good ending, not the bees! That is so cute! Ah, that is... This is so absolutely adorable. Rachelu, beautiful little game. So for everyone who's watching this and thinks this is absolutely fantastic, there's a link in the liner notes. You can get the game for free on itch.io, and there's more endings than this one. I probably got the good one. It feels like a super good one. And I'm fine with that, you know, I leave you the other endings to explore. Because this is a pretty short game, so I think it's really fun to, you know, just enjoy the rest. I also think you can load certain chapters, so you don't have to play through the whole game before. But yeah, I wanna keep some mystery in the story for you, so I will not play all the endings. But yeah, I love the style, and I really like that it's actually a super dark story. But the illustrations are so light and cute that you don't expect it when you go in and you think it's like a super romantic thing, and then it's like... So I really love that. Yeah, beautiful little game. I really enjoyed it. Can't wait for maybe another chapter. Also, I think Eloisde is a perfect protagonist because she's such a gossip. But it's kind of super fun because she's like this... She's like these super Christian girls, you know, but who can't help but be kind of gossiping about everything because their own life seems to be a little bit boring. And I think that is just the perfect protagonist for any horror story, really. So maybe we'll see something more with Eloisde. I would be delighted. If you like this video, you can like this video. You can also comment, how did you like it? And can you maybe recommend short visual novels, maybe with a horror twist, or especially with a horror twist, because these things, you know, with reading out loud are really hard on the voice. I prefer shorter visual novels. I'm not really into the longer ones. I tried that once and it's just, no, not for a let's play. But the shorter ones I really enjoy, because it's always a nice little glimpse into like some interesting new art styles and, you know, narratives. So yeah, tell me in the comments if you know any shorter visual novels that you can recommend with a horror twist. And also you can subscribe to my channel. I usually play short indie horror games, and sometimes longer indie horror games, and sometimes even AAA horror games, but that's very seldom. And sometimes I also play adventure games, like currently I'm knee-deep in Tell Me Why. So if that's your jam, then you're invited to subscribe. And I promise you, I will not eat you. Because I don't turn into... We still don't know whether he was a vampire or a werewolf, but I will turn into neither. Sadly, really. But good for you, so yeah, happy subscribing. Anyways, I hope you had a good time, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And maybe, see you soon. Bye 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 bye. This is my self-recorded outro song, so I don't get hit with copyright claims. If you subscribe to a lot of fun tutorials, reviews, and let's plays.